Well, I'm 59 years now, and when I started prospecting I was 17, and between 17 and now I can guarantee that I've spent at least 20 years in the bush full time prospecting and making a living at it. We probably dug down, I reckon, 4 foot, and it was just loaded with gold. Like, it was just filthy rich with bits, and some of them were quite big, some of them were up to like, 9 and 10 grand pieces. Put the detector and it was just wow, and I'm like, wow, and we're like, me and Mum are like, dance. The Smythedale, Linton, Scarsdale, that was all good detecting country, a lot of nuggety gold there. I was fortunate enough to have found some really big gold in the early days, which the circumstance we found it under, right across the road, it was just phenomenal, yeah. We did a lot of prospecting around that area. We found another patch in that area. This one was a reef patch, and there was probably maybe, 150 pieces altogether, but to make up about 37 ounces all up. Compared to the other patch, you just go and get a 45 ounce piece in one piece. And this patch like 150 pieces to get 37 ounces. It was small gold. It was all reef gold, spiky, but it was a completely different sort of gold. It was from a reef, and of course this time we're starting to get a bit of a clue about this gold stuff. You know what I mean? Because he's telling us things, and the best teacher of gold is gold. But how I found that was, there was another thing. There was a track going along, and back in the early days, we just knew, to look for quartz. It's funny, like, the 2 biggest patches we ever found was when we knew nothing about gold. But now we know so much, it's quite bizarre, but that's how it was. And I was just driving down this track and there's quartz everywhere. And to the left, if you go down there, there's some quite extensive workings, and we found quite a bit of gold there. And Mum and Dad and me, we were coming in and out, having a bit of a look. And I'll come down here one day, and I just thought, I'll take that track, see what's down there. And so I wandered down, and probably about, and 40 minutes later, I come out with about 20 pieces, and I found a patch down there. There was a little bit of a gully, there was a test hole, and I thought, that's interesting. Thinking test hole. And the reason why I was thinking test hole is because on our big patch, where we got the big stuff, there was 3 holes, very shallow. One of them was right near the top, about 10 foot from the 75 ounce piece. One was down near the 53 ounce piece, and the other one was near the 18 ounce piece. And that were the only 3 holes, very shallow. And what gets in my mind is, how did they know where to put them test holes in? And each one of them test holes was right near some of our biggest pieces. And that's what actually put me onto the area, because when I drove in, I was seeing this shaft, and there was a little shallow one over there. Nothing else, and I thought, well, they obviously thought there was something here, so I thought I'll give it a try with the detector, and bang, there you go. So I pulled the car up, walked up about 60 feet, turned the Garrett on, started scanning. Right, got a little bit, got another little bit, and voila, there was another patch. Oh, babe. Looks like someone had a claim here. You know what I reckon? I reckon that bloke that took that turn back there, instead of going left and went right, found a little patch. His name's not on here, but I think it could be me. Go and have a look. So it all really started from that track, which is the right on the Y junction, which I took. I drove down here, looked up the hills, nice and quartzy. There's a couple of little test holes. I thought, yeah, I'll give it a bash. I turned the car off, got the deep seeker out, come up here and had a bit of scan around. And probably in a couple of minutes I got a little signal, dug it down. I picked up a tiny piece of quartz with a real sharp, bright piece of gold in it. I thought, wow. So then I started checking a bit more. I got another bit over there, bit there, and I'm going, wow, this is like I'm onto something here, and there was no workings at all, nothing across there. It was just all white gravel, and I was just picking up pieces and I'm thinking, where's this coming from? So I thought, oh, I better go home, tell the news. So off I went, and yeah, we came back straight back actually. We were in the car and off we came, and we spent probably another hour right till dark, and we probably got another 30 bits just around this area. And once again, we put a lease on it and then we pushed it. It was very shallow. We dug up the top here trying to see if we could find where it was coming from. There was a bit of quartz remaining in the ground. It looked like reef, but you know, you go up above, like there's reef up there everywhere, and we actually did loam the surface, and we got fine gold, but we never got any fine gold in the loam above that tree till that corner. Nothing in the loam above that. It all just stopped there, and we dug right through there, and yeah, there was just nothing there. So obviously the reef had been here, outcropped, come down, and the biggest piece was the lowest piece, which was found down about where that tree is on an angle, and we never got a single piece below that. That was 17 ounces, and then all the rest was just comprised of mainly sort of, I think the biggest was a ½ ounce, and then there was just lots and lots and lots and lots of small stuff. Yeah, but it was a really fun spot to work, and I will go down below that spot down into the gully because there's something else interesting I'd like to show you about this area. So yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. You've got a small costine here where they've been looking for the reef. You've got quite a bit of quartz there. There's some nice quartz there, but just here in this section here, you've got this really dark mineralised. It looks like more like sandstone with quartz attached. Now I've broken a couple of these off, and there's some very fine seams of quartz in here, very mineralised with iron. And if you crack that and actually dolly these seams, you'll get just a tiny bit of fine flower gold in the dish. If you actually have a look at the bedrock, it's striking, as you know, the bedrock runs north-south. It's striking across at an angle like this. So that's the strike of the bedrock here. So we're going to follow that and see where this takes us to. It's going to be quite interesting. So we'll line it up. So it's a rough trajectory pretty much that way. Okay. So if I use that big tree as a guide, and I will walk across that line and we'll see what happens. So that's the strike of the bedrock from that costine where it was exposed, and the line of reef goes that way. And if you have a look, you'll see all the diggings come up to this line and stop, which is telling me that the gold in this particular part of the gully was derived from that line up here millions of years ago, and it's weathered down. Because there's one test hole above, a couple of test holes, and they've got no gold above that line. And that line in the costine does carry very fine gold on the reef. So there you go. I suppose the motto is, when you get a Y junction in life, think carefully. It can mean something really interesting. So yeah, I was always interested at the time, this dredging. Yeah, the dredging was fantastic, you know, but unfortunately they banned it in 1990, around thereabouts. So a great way of prospecting you could no longer do, and that was a real shame. And then they brought out the Mine Lab series of false induction detectors, which seemed to create a bit of a stir, hearing some good results about them. And I had a mate of mine who he borrowed one. It was the Mine Lab 2100. The 2000 came out. That was pretty successful, but the 2100 was like a game changer. You could get lots and lots of small 1 gram, 2 gram bits, and surface errors were like brand new again, never been detected. And yeah, so I got back into it, and of course, Dad had passed away by then, and of course, naturally, Mum was very interested because she wasn't far away, and she was like, wow, this thing's really good. Well, you know, we got a 2100 next, don't you? So, yeah, she got one, and, you know, it was such a shame because Dad would have loved to have seen that technology, because it was probably, you had the whites of Garrett's, and it plodded along a bit, but when they brought out this, it just opened up the Goldfields again. Everything was like, go and detect it again. Yeah, he missed out on that, you know, and even Mum said, you know, it's such a shame that he never got to use it, because he would have loved it. But me and Mum, well, she was in glory. She was in the glory. Like, she's poking around her area because we lived apart in different areas, and I'm doing my thing, and we're both getting gold, and yeah, it was like, hey, here we go, we're back in the game again, you know. I was back making a living, and I had some really good days, you know. Mum did too. She, over the time she prospected, she used to always, you know, want to find a gold reef, like find a reef, right? And I think it was about 5 or 6 times she'd ring me up and say, Greg, she said, I found a reef, I'm sure it's a reef. Because, you know, being Mum, she can't dig like that hard. And she said, the quartz is there, you know, and I was like, okay. So I went out, and every time, you know, it was usually either a couple of big bits of float, but she'd gotten bits near it, but it wasn't actually like a vein. Well, she rang me up this day and said, oh, look, I'm sure this is a reef. And I said, okay, I'll come out and have a look. So I went out there, and yeah, she found this really tiny little piece, only about that big, just quartz, real sharp, angular. And then directly in a line up the slope of the hill, she found another piece. And then about another 10 feet above that, she found 2 pieces, and she dug a hole into the ground, and there was quite a big piece of quartz in there. So I thought, I'll dig it out, thinking, yeah, it's going to be the same story, Mum, I know, you know. So I dug it out, and then I put the tech probe, and I've got 3 signals, and they're all gold. And I'm like, wow, what is this really? And I dug a bit more, and yep, lo and behold, there was a reef there. It was probably about that wide. Went across like that, and it was just loaded with mineral, really mineralised quartz, and there was just pieces of gold like in it all over the place. So we opened about a bit more, and then I dug it in. I ripped out like a good 6 inches of it, and put the detector, and it was just wow, and I'm like, wow, we're like, me and Mum are like, Dad, and well, wouldn't you? I mean, you're digging up a reef like this one was quite interesting because it was about, I don't know, probably about 100 feet from a track, a dirt track that went through the bush. So we're starting to dig this thing up. It's like loaded with gold, you know, and here comes a car. You can hear a car come. So we're ducking down, hiding in the hole. Yeah, they're gone. We got out and they start digging again. Oh, another car. Like every time we heard a car, we're like, damn it, you know. But, you know, they were just driving straight past, and, you know, like everyone had done for what? The beginning of time. It's been sitting here since the beginning of time, and we found it. And, yeah, we dug down. We probably dug down, I reckon, probably 4 foot. And it was just loaded with gold. It was just loaded with gold. It was just filthy rich with bits. And some of them were quite big. Some of them were up to like, you know, 9 and 10 gram pieces. And it was real coarse. So we dig it out. You go over the bits of quartz. Yeah, that's got a bit in it. That's got a bit in it. We nap it out a bit. Yeah, you know. Oh yeah, there it is. And the quartz, we sort of kept that aside because, you know, we're only getting the coarse stuff out of it. And yeah, we basically dug in that day and half the next day. All up was 400 grams. It was half a kilo of gold, and that was out of the reef. And that was probably the best reef we'd ever found. I found a few others, smaller, similar, where you chase the gold up and you got a vein, but that was the doozy of them all. And I mean, you know, to go and dig a reef up and find half a kilo of gold out of it, and yeah, Mum lived up to her. She did find a reef in the end.